Hello to everybody. So I have been a tinkerer and I've always been interested in home automation. And now today with things like Alexa and Google Home, it all gets tied together a lot easier with a lot more options than it used to be. And a lot of people have asked me, hey, I'd like to do that, but how do I get started? So I'm going to try and provide an overview, some product info, and make some suggestions. If you're interested in getting into this, I'll tell you how to start, and you can go and have some fun and see what you can do. So in the past, it was expensive and was rather difficult to try and do anything on your own, and it was there weren't that many products available. But today, the costs have come down. There are many features and products available. It's almost endless what you can do. Of course, it's all determined by your budget, but it is getting much more affordable. So you can have Star Trek-like capabilities, talking to your computer and turning lights on and off and having fun. And so that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to break this down into an overview of some of the categories of things you can do with home control and automation, including security, controlling your heating or air conditioner, and things you can do with your entertainment for watching TV, etc. We'll talk about the devices that are available today for talking, using your voice to do control. So you don't always have to type into a computer. You can do it from your phone. You can do it with voice. A lot of remote controls for TVs have voice capabilities. So we'll touch on some of those things. We'll talk about the different technologies. This is a very confusing topic for a lot of people. There are many choices, and there are reasons why there are many choices. So we'll touch on some of those, maybe end some of the confusion. And then we'll give you some tips at the end, and we'll talk about some concerns with security and those types of things. So moving into some of the techniques and the technologies and the concepts, uh, it's something that I think most people can do, even if they're not extremely technical, because a lot of it's done for you. If you can set up an app on your phone and load a program on your computer, it's really, really very easy to follow instructions and set these things up. And the smart assistants are amazingly flexible. Not only are they things that can help you do things for turning on your lights and etc., but they can actually make you more productive. You can talk into these devices and create shopping lists, and you can find out, the weather and directions and facts of things. Instead of, pulling out the dictionary or encyclopedia, you can ask questions, get answers with your voice. So it's actually very functional. And some of the things that you can do, for example, you can turn on lights which would normally be controlled by a light switch in a wall, or maybe you have something that plugs into the wall like air conditioner or appliance or a light. You can get devices that plug in, and then you plug your appliance into that, and you can control. So these are usually called smart sockets, something along that line. And TP-Link and Belkin make some of these products. These are examples of things that are more of a onesie twosie. If you just want to turn one device on and off, you don't want to have to buy a whole system. These are really nice because you can buy light bulbs that have the intelligence in them, switches that go into your wall, or plugs that go into your AC outlet. And very simply, you can start turning lights on and off. You can also get more advanced systems where now they're part of like a whole ecosystem, and you can connect all kinds of devices. That gives you more options, and we'll talk a little bit about those. One thing that's really nice, a lot of people like to dress up their home with, decorating and furniture, and smart lighting is something that can really make a difference. If you've got company coming over, you're throwing a dinner party, lighting really adds ambiance. And when you're using the smart lighting, there's a lot of things you can do. You can get white light, color light, you can dim, you can get lights that go to your music, so many things. It is really, really nice. We'll talk about that. There are products that use hubs that allow you to connect one system of functionality to another company's system of functionality. And there are pros and cons to hub and hubless systems. We'll talk a little bit about those. And if you're an Apple user, you won't be left out because Apple has finally released their HomeKit, and it gives home automation to people who run Apple products. So whether you're a computer user, an Apple user, Android, Microsoft Windows, there are products for everybody, and they're getting better all the time. So this is good for everybody. So let's talk about an example here with heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, energy management, temperature control, smart thermostats. These are all categories here that talk about this. And Honeywell was one of the big innovators in intelligent thermostats, where you can get Wi-Fi and remotely control your thermostats. So if you're away, you can turn on the heat or the air conditioning. By the time you got home, the temperature was comfortable. That in itself was fantastic. But now you can do all kinds of programming. And there's a product on the left here from Ecobee that is extremely smart, and it has these little white sensors that go into each of your rooms. And you can expand this with as many sensors as you want, and you can set the thermostat not to just control the temperature based on the thermostat, which is placed on a wall in one room, but now you can get sensor information from every room. And these are just tiny little things that run on a coin battery, and you can put them anywhere, and they're wireless. So it's really easy. And you set the thermostat certain times of the day. I'm in day mode. Other times I'm in night mode. I set the temperature at these different modes based on not only whether what the temperature should be in particular rooms, but these little temperature sensors also have motion sensors. So if you're in a room, you would probably want that temperature to be controlled to be comfortable. But if you're not in a room, maybe you don't want temperature control there. So the set point for your desired temperature could be based on rooms and activity in those rooms, which makes it really smart. So if you're a fan of Nest, Nest has, great thermostat. The Nest thermostat does a lot of learning. It learns your habits, and it tries to adjust the temperatures based on your activities and habits. So each of these products has something unique to offer, which is really great. So it depends on your application, what you want. There's something for you. Surveillance and home security is another interesting topic. Used to take a lot of wiring, complex wiring, and cutting holes in walls, and it was a very expensive and complex thing. Few people wanted to tackle it themselves, and unless you had a lot of cash in your budget, it was often prohibitive for people. Then came wireless cameras that talk to the cloud. And those were really great too, but now we have camera systems that provide all kinds of functionality like motion detection. And they run on batteries and they're wireless. So, hey, you don't even have to run wires anymore. So this is something now that's becoming, easy to install, easy to set up yourself, and prices are coming within range. So you have a lot of options for this type of stuff. Another really cool product is a video doorbell. These video doorbells will take pictures and videos of people that come to your front door. Not only when you press the button, but even with motion detection, they will sense people that don't press the doorbell. So maybe you get a package delivered and they never ring the doorbell, they just throw the package up on your porch. Or maybe somebody comes to take that package off your porch. You can set these up to get videos, and maybe you can catch a crook, or at least you'll know, you get a heads up when someone's dropping off a package or coming to see you. Maybe you get a telemarketer or somebody who's selling something and you don't want to answer the door. The video camera is great for that. And the home lighting is a really interesting topic. I think a lot of people would like this. The products are really great, and they're easy to install. In some cases, all you have to do is screw in a light bulb, literally. And you start an app on your phone, and you configure it to talk to your light bulbs, and you can turn the light bulbs on and off and dim them. For more advanced capabilities, I have two examples here. The one on the right is probably the most popular and most full-featured. It's from Philips, and it's called the Hue lighting, H-U-E. And Hue lighting is a hub-based controller system. And this controller plugs into your router, connects it to the internet. Then it uses wireless to talk to all these bulbs. So you can configure it for various moods which will set the lighting. You can have it set to react to music. There's a number of things you can do. As you enter and leave rooms, there are sensors that will also talk to the hub for motion detection. So you don't even have to hit a switch. You can walk into a room and the mere presence will turn on the lights in that room. Really great things. On the left, we have a company called LifeX. I believe that's Lighting Effects is what that is short for. And they do a hubless version of lighting control. They do the light bulbs that screw into sockets, and they also do the strips. The lighting strips are really nice because they come with a self-adhesive on the back. You can stick them behind your TV, create mood lighting. These also connect to apps on your phone that you can program to do all kinds of things on schedule or react to music, react to entering a room. So these are two products of many out there that are available for doing home lighting. Even IKEA has gotten into the home lighting thing. Very cost-effective products too. So there are lots of choices. Then we get into home entertainment. Smart TVs are getting smarter. Not only are they getting higher resolution, but the intelligence that they're putting in to the TVs is just amazing. So not only can you stream from various sources like Netflix and Amazon Prime, but now you can start doing home control right from your TV. You really don't have to get off the couch anymore. Sometimes the remote control itself has a microphone, and you can speak to your remote control, not only to change the channels, but to turn lights on and off in the rest of your house. Your hi-fi system, audio system could have voice control. You can change radio stations. You could change inputs from radio to your TV to a Blu-ray player or something to that effect. Gaming consoles have voice control and home control in them. So it's pretty endless, and we're only touching into the beginning of home automation. So watch closely. If something's not available that you want, I'm sure it won't be long, and products will be introduced. And I recommend, too, consider getting some type of a home network-attached storage or a device that can hold like your video files so you can do streaming, music files. This is something that is complementary and supportive of the many different things you can do with home automation as well as with your general computing. So it's something you ought to consider if you're getting into this advanced control system. So how can we control with smart devices? Well, the voice input is really interesting. It was complex, required great processing power in the past, and now is something that we can do quite easily, but it does require a great degree of intelligence. It's actually using artificial intelligence, and they're using computing power in the cloud, which has, almost an endless supply of computing power. And that's how we're able to do a lot of these things today. It's the power of the cloud that's bringing us features that we couldn't do in the past. So Amazon Alexa is a popular product. They make the Echo series of devices. Google Assistant is the Google version of the smart voice, and they call their products Google Home. Microsoft has had Cortana on Windows 10. Apple has Siri, and they call their home control HomeKit. Samsung doesn't want to be left out. They have Samsung Bixby, and they bought a company called SmartThings. So Samsung is going to come out with a lot of new products. I expect a lot of things from Samsung. Facebook M Virtual Assistant. I haven't played with that, but maybe some of you are familiar with it. And I really do expect, because this is an opportunity for companies to introduce a lot of new products. And let's face it, they want to sell us products. So Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, Samsung, and many other companies that we maybe haven't heard of are going to be introducing a lot of products and a lot of features. So you can get into it now, and you can expand forever. These prices are a little bit old, but here is an assortment of devices that you could get for doing your voice control. And so Echo has a second generation product that looks like a thermos, and you can speak into this and play music. It's a Bluetooth speaker with smart voice recognition and artificial intelligence. So that should sum it up. And products in this category are around $100, and you can find, Amazon original devices or third-party devices that are supporting Amazon and Google for, more money with bigger speakers and bigger power, or less money for smaller speakers. An example of a smaller speaker is the Echo Dot. So at the top of the line is the Echo Plus, then it's the regular Echo, and as you go down to the smallest device, looks like a hockey puck, that's the Echo Dot. And they're less than $50. So if you watch them on sale, I've picked them up as low as $30. And, hey, if you want to get into voice recognition and home automation, how could you pass that up? You really got to try it. Echo Spot adds video, and the Echo Show has a larger screen with video, and it can do many more things. But you may have read there's a little bit of competition envy going on. Google doesn't want YouTube showing up on these devices. So there is a bit of a problem. I'm not sure how they're going to settle that out. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But there are plenty of other things you can do. For example, hooking up the screen to your doorbell so when somebody comes, you don't have to pull your smartphone out of your pocket or run to the other room looking for it. Your video doorbell could send video to one of these devices with screens on it, and that's pretty handy. Amazon Tap is like a mobile device. So it has a battery built into it, which is kind of nice if you travel or if you want to take it out in the backyard. That makes it really easy. And things like Fire TV, they've now incorporated Amazon Alexa voice into the Fire TV, so you can give voice commands to do things on the TV, which is really nice. If you have a Fire tablet, that also, now has Amazon Alexa built into it. And something that happened in the last, 6-12 months, Ecobee thermostats and Sonos and Moto and a lot of other products, third parties are now being brought into this ecosystem of voice control. And an example is the Ecobee 4 thermostat comes with Amazon Alexa built into it. Another great product. If you want to go to something that has bigger sound or has different options, or if you're more of a Google fan than an Amazon fan, Google and Alexa are both big leaders in this. And, 1 month you might like one better than the other, the next month the other one. They're constantly coming out with firmware updates. So it's really hard to say one is better than the other. They're both great. Here are some prices on the Google. The midline one, the Google Home, is about $130 or less. And if you want bigger sound, you can spend $400 for the Google Home Max, which is a very large speaker. Or if you want something that's inexpensive, the Google Home Mini for less than $50, and I've picked those up for $30. So shop around and get some deals. Now, Microsoft Cortana was introduced in Windows 10 and maybe even Windows 8. And they're now starting to work with third parties to put Cortana into devices. And there's a lot of interesting things going on here with, which one is better, what do they do? I don't want to get into that because it's a very interesting topic and it's going to change. So whatever I would say today, 6 months from now, it's going to be totally different. So read the reviews and check out the products and make up your own mind. And I'm going to go up here, Apple Siri Kit. When you get these slides later, if you want some direct links, it's fairly recent. Of all the different types of home control, Amazon Alexa was the first. Amazon worked with a lot of third parties to do home automation, to turn on lights and various things. And Google finally caught up and worked with these third parties. And Apple finally has come in and gotten their product to work with a lot of these third-party devices. So there are lots of options. You may have to hunt a little bit, but you'll find a lot of YouTube videos that'll tell you how to do this. And the latest entry into this is Samsung. They call their smart voice Bixby, and their hardware products are Smart Things. And they picked up a product from another company, and they actually haven't done a lot. They're a little bit slow to embrace this and get going. But you know how Samsung is. When they finally do make up their minds, they're going to get into this full force. And I'm sure they're going to have some interesting products out there. This looks like a kit that you would start with. And this is one nice thing about buying one of these hardware kits that has a hub in it. You'll get the smart hub that's your master controller and in some various devices. And you can get the smart plugs that plug into an AC outlet. And then from there, you plug in your lights or your air conditioners or various other things, and you control them. This also has self-adhesive sensors that go on your doors, and they detect when the doors open and close. And they also have temperature sensors in these. So it's all wireless. You peel and stick, and next thing you know, you've got security for your door entries, your window entries. You've got temperature sensing, and you've got control of things that plug in the outlet, and you've got things that you can get like water detection. Put them near your washing machine, your dishwasher, anything that's got a lot of water where there's risk of a flood. And these things will tell you when you've got a leak somewhere. So there's a lot of really great options out there. And another is remote controls. So if you have a TV of very recent purchase, you may have a smart remote control in it already. If not, you can buy them. Universal remotes have become, the must-have item if you're an advanced AV user, because your audio video system is going to have many components, and each has their own remote control. And so when you sit down and watch TV, you may have a remote control for Netflix, a remote control for TV, a remote control for the stereo, remote control for your Roku, and it gets pretty crazy trying to figure out which one to pick up. And the universal remotes now are very intelligent, and they can control all of your devices from one device. And now they have Alexa or Google Home built into them, so you can do it all by voice control. Very good stuff. So what if you're a real hardcore DIYer? You like to do all your stuff by yourself and you don't want to buy all these pre-made systems? Well, there are ways that you can enhance off-the-shelf systems, or you can completely avoid off-the-shelf and buy a lot of stuff yourself. So I'm not going to touch on all of these. Let's talk about a product called IFTTT as an example of how you can enhance the functionality of the products that you have. IFTTT stands for if this, then that. And it's a way to automate that when some event happens, an action will follow. And you program what you want to happen. And so tying this in, if the temperature outside gets to a certain point, then I want to turn on my air conditioning. So I don't even have to pay attention anymore. I could set this up. In my car, when I'm driving away, I'm going to get into my car and attach to the Bluetooth in my car. When I do that, I don't need Wi-Fi anymore, so I can use IFTTT that it automatically detects I'm connecting to my smart car, so turn off the Wi-Fi. Then when I return home, it uses geofencing. When I come back to my home area, it will then turn my Wi-Fi on, so as soon as I walk in the house, I'm connected to my Wi-Fi. There's a couple of examples of what you can do. These are all based off a lot of protocols. Most of them have been existing. Some of them are brand new. And you don't need to understand all of these new technologies, but these are the things that make this work. Link layer discovery is what goes out and it surveys all the products connected to your network and then tells you which ones are smart devices that can be controlled. And so just an example of how that works. Here are some applets that you can get on IFTTT. Some of them are pre-made. Some of them you make up completely on your own. So as I said, the top left one here, turn off Wi-Fi on Android when I leave home. That saves power because Wi-Fi transmitting requires power. The next one, I can unmute my Android when I get back home. So sometimes I go away and I'm in a place where I have to mute my phone, and I come home and I forget. And so I can't hear the phone ring because it's muted and I miss calls. But now I could set it up that if I'm away and I come back, it's going to unmute the speaker. So lots of interesting things you can do. You can get notification when it's going to rain. You can get all kinds of event notifications that are helpful just in general knowledge or for your home control. If you're really hardcore do-it-yourselfer, you can buy software that runs on your computer and your tablet and phone, and you program all the different things that you want and build your own, excuse me, build your own home automation. Lots of flexibility, lots of things available. So how do all these things communicate? Oh boy, here we go with the protocols. I'm not going to get technical here, but there are lots of ways, and you're going to see lots of this stuff on the box. What you need to know is when you're picking up boxes and looking at them, or you're reviewing products on the web, you need to make sure they all talk the same communication. And there are some very common protocols. Sometimes the old products used to use serial RS-232 and that type of thing. That stuff is fading away, being replaced by USB and by wireless technologies. So a couple that are really important here, of course, Wi-Fi. Another is Z-Wave. Another is Zigbee. The Zigbee and Z-Wave are newer types of wireless communication, and they're meant to be very high efficient for home automation and low power and very quick. So Wi-Fi is ubiquitous, it's everywhere, but it's not the best technology for doing home control. So you'll see other devices using these other technologies like Z-Wave and Zigbee, and they're great communication processes, but you just got to make sure that they're all going to be able to use the same one. Another one is Insteon, and there are great pros and cons to consider in everything that you buy. So Z-Wave has pros and cons, Zigbee has pros and cons. Insteon came along and tried to take the best of both of those worlds and make their own. So for wireless technologies, you're going to have Wi-Fi, you're going to have Z-Wave and Zigbee, and you're going to have Insteon as options for you. You also have Bluetooth. Maybe you have like a weight scale in the bathroom that you weigh yourself, and it uses Bluetooth to talk to an app on your phone and then enters that into your logging for your weight tracking, etc. Endless possibilities. But just make sure you pick a common technology to communicate. So another topic worth talking about when you're talking about home automation, something that's a buzzword that's been flying around for a long time here, IoT, Internet of Things. What is Internet of Things? Well, it's all about smart devices that can attach to a network and communicate all the way to the internet and use features in the cloud. So it is basically taking it to the limit. And it's not just about your computer or your phone talking to the internet. It's about devices that normally would never have a reason to talk to the internet. So a smart thermostat's a really good example. You take a thermostat and you add Wi-Fi to it. Well, now you can talk to it over Wi-Fi. But if you connect it to the cloud and configure it as an IoT device, now you can do so much more. And so there will be a portal in the cloud, for example, that talks to your thermostat and collects temperature information. And you'll be able to look at the history of what the outside temperature was, what the inside temperature was, when your heating and air conditioning turned on and off. And then you can see if you're actually doing good energy management to save yourself some money and, be smart for the environment. So it really adds many more layers of features because it's now Internet of Things and not just a device with Wi-Fi on it. What kinds of things can you do? Well, let's talk about a few. Heating, ventilation, air conditioning, zone control is an example of adding some real intelligence to your home heating and air conditioning. And so if you live in a large home or a multi-level unit, sometimes you have more than one heating and air conditioning unit for your house. Sometimes you don't. You have one heating air conditioning unit that controls everything. But what you can do is you can set up zones so that these zones can get priority control under various conditions. And a really good example is that during the day, you're going to be active. At night, you're going to be asleep. So the bedroom is more important at night, but maybe the kitchen and living room are more important during the day. Or if you're away during the day because you work, then you want to set an away mode that you save the ultimate money because you're not really running anything. But when you do zone controls, you have the ability of sensing individual rooms or floors and making decisions based on that information. And it's no longer controlling everything in the house equally. It's controlling based on the priorities that you set. You could do water heater temperature monitoring. If you travel, sometimes this is something, is the water heater on? Is it doing okay? Surveillance and home security. Wonderful thing. While you're away, you can check on your kids, check on your pets, find out who's coming to your door. There are lots of products for home security and home surveillance that are really, really nice. Have you ever left home and forgot the garage door? Come home and you found your garage doors open, you're wondering, how did that happen? How long has it been that way? So now there are products that you can either buy off the shelf or you can build your own, that you could have a camera or a sensor on the garage door that will tell you if it's open or closed. And if you find out you forgot to close it, you can tell it to close remotely. So whether you're at work or you're on vacation in another state, you can check, satisfy yourself, and open or close as needed. You can create home weather stations if you like to do that. Instead of getting weather information from, TV station or, an internet station, you can find out exactly what's going on in your house by setting up a weather station. It'll have rain gauge, temperature and humidity, cloud coverage, and that type of thing. So that's a fun thing to do. And other types of remote monitoring and management, great stuff. If you have a leak, you can sense that you have water on the floor and you've got a leak, and then you can use that to turn a valve that shuts the water off for your entire house. The possibilities are endless here. So let's take a look at what it would be like to try and do a multi-zone control and energy management for your home. So let's say you've got 3 zones. You're probably going to want to put a thermostat into each of those zones. They could be $60 and up. So 3 of those, you're talking maybe $200 there. If you want to put motorized dampers in to control the airflow to those 3 zones, so you need 3 of those dampers that go into the ductwork. And that could be 70, 75. So maybe there's a couple $100 there. And maybe you would have a zone controller. If you went to a heating and air conditioning guy, you would wind up buying a zone controller, and those could be, several $100s. And then you add wireless remote and all these things. So this is sort of a high-end cost. If you add up all these costs and you look at doing your own DIY home energy management, you could actually do it for a lot less than this. And then over time, with the energy that you're saving and the money that you're saving on your bills, you'll pay off any investment that you've made. But you're also going to increase the comfort because you now have complete control over your heating and air conditioning. So you can see an example of a damper, and it's got a motor on it. And using the sensors in the rooms and your smart thermostat, the cloud and the IoT, you can now switch which rooms are going to get more or less air to help control the temperature and be more comfortable. So here's one example for heating and air conditioning. You can use smart technology. There are plenty of options if you want to do extended DIY. If you like to play with single board computers, things like Arduino and Raspberry Pi, there are all kinds of things you can do. And if you like to build it yourself, you can buy a lot of kits, you can buy the parts, you can do everything from scratch. It's endless. And so if you're a tinkerer like I am, you can have a lot of fun doing this kind of stuff. How do we get started? Well, so you can get these almost anywhere now. It's surprising. The usual electronic places that you would go to buy stuff now have entire aisles dedicated to this. It's amazing how many products are available. So Fry's, Micro Center, Best Buy, and then you go to the home stores, the hardware stores like Home Depot and Lowe's. They have this stuff right there with demonstrations and the different add-on products that you can get to expand these. These are everywhere now. Even IKEA has gotten into it. They have a whole section of smart lighting. So, plenty of options here for you. Watch for sales. These things go on sale all the time. Promotions, you buy, one of these and get discount on buying something else. You don't have to buy it all at once. So buy enough to get yourself started and you can keep expanding. But keep in mind making sure that all these products are going to be compatible for long term, because you want to make sure that they can talk to each other and work with each other. Of course, you can get them on Amazon, and you can go to the manufacturer websites. A lot of times, if you sign up for their mail list, they'll give you discounts for making a purchase. So plenty of ways to buy stuff. It's available everywhere. So where do you start? What do you pick? It depends. Everybody's got a different choice. Some people want, energy management. They want to work on the heating and air conditioning. Some people want security because you've got kids, dogs, babysitters, and you'd like to have the cameras in your house. Some people are into the entertainment thing. They've got streaming stuff. They've got music files and video files on a home server, and they want to do streaming. So whatever you think is important to you, you can pick one. You don't have to do everything all at once. And then find the products that you think are going to help reach your goals. Here's a few examples. For a standalone control that you just want to turn one thing on or one or two lights, you can start small and very inexpensive. And the company I recommend right now is TP-Link. Their products are affordable, they're on sale a lot, and you plug them in. Their apps are very smart. I've had great success setting products up, so that's one way to go. If you want to go a little bit further with something that's more system-wide, Samsung SmartThings is they have a kit right now that comes with the basics, and it's on sale at Micro Center, so it's one option you might want to check out. But Samsung will come out with more and better stuff in the future. There will be other companies coming out with that type of thing. So if you're looking at home control, you could do just individual standalone controllers, or you can do, home-wide control. Smart lighting, the two leaders in this are Philips Hue and Lifix, but you'll find a lot of products out there that might be a little bit more affordable because their names are not so well known. And I like staying with the big brands because they're more likely to stay compatible with products as new products come out in the future. When it comes to smart thermostats, the one I like the best is Ecobee because it has these remote sensors and it now comes with Alexa built in. But if you like Nest because it has this learning mode, that's a great thermostat. The problem I have with thermostat is I don't have a consistent schedule. So how is it going to learn what I'm doing if I don't repeat often enough for it to learn my habits, right? So that's something you have to consider. When it comes to surveillance, there are individual cameras that connect to the cloud. And if all you want is a camera in a room, that might be the simple way for you to go. Just buy a camera that's a smart cloud camera. Or if you want something with multiple cameras, indoors, outdoors, that gives you notifications when there's motion detection, then you're going to look at other products. And the two that stand out probably in my mind, Swan and Arlo. Swan is more of a older traditional camera system that they're now adding intelligence and cloud to. So its functionality is not quite what we would like, but it has a lot of great stuff in it. And installation is, I'd say medium. Arlo is a really interesting product because it's completely wireless, cameras have battery, it's easy to install, has a lot of great features. But the one caveat I want to mention about a lot of these things, and Arlo is a perfect example, you get these photos, maybe it takes a snapshot when somebody comes and gets within range and causes motion detection, or you'll get a video snippet of so many seconds. Where do those videos and photos go to? Well, they go into the cloud. And so now they want to sell you a cloud service for storing your photos and videos. If you use this stuff a lot and it really pays off, the benefits that you get, it could be worth paying these cloud fees. But, some of us don't want to do that. And so this is where you're going to have to look carefully, not only at the product and the features, but look at the cloud services and the subscription fees. Moving on to entertainment, if you're buying a new TV, you want to ask about smart features. If you've bought a TV within the last, 3-4 years, it probably has at least some smarts built into it. But the newer the TV, the more intelligence it's going to have. And an example is the Sony TVs are using Google Home built in and Android built in. So you want to talk about the ultimate in smart home, streaming media, connecting to everything. It's just amazing what you can do from the living room on your big screen TV. So we have to touch on a few things that you have to consider. Privacy is an issue. And you may have read about IoT not being very secure. The problem is there's a lot of new stuff that's being introduced on the market at a very quick rate. And the companies that are doing this are adding intelligence as a layer on top of the electrical and mechanical parts of these devices. And once they get that operating and performing, sometimes these products get shipped quickly to market without considering all of the other parts of it. And anytime you have data that's moving out into the cloud, that data can become vulnerable. Not only that data, but if you're using wireless for these devices could be tapped into. And so you have to worry, is somebody looking at my data? Well, if it's just temperature data, you might say, well, that doesn't bother me. Who cares if they see temperature of my house and my settings and whatever? But the problem is, once they get access to your device, they can then use that to tap into other things in your home, including your computers and your mobile phones. So there's an example of, I believe it was a casino, had an aquarium, a fish tank aquarium, and in it had a smart control for filtering and heating the water for the fish. And that was connected to the internet through IoT. Somebody hacked the device, took control of it, and used that to access the network. Something that you would say, well, it's no big deal. It's just a fish tank device. That's how they get in. So there's a lot of awareness. Manufacturers are adding layers of security. And this is why I suggest to people, buy name brand products. You'll spend a little bit more for the known leaders, but you're more likely to get attention for security and constant updates and better interoperability. Okay, let's move on to cost. Yeah, you can buy an individual light bulb, screw it in, load a free app, and turn your lights on and off. Very, very inexpensive. But now what if you want to control your whole house? Oh my gosh, you got to put devices in every room and color lighting over here and white lighting over there. It adds up pretty quickly. So before you go out and start going crazy, you might want to sit down and draw out a budget and decide what your priorities are, what room you want to do first, which ones you want color, because color costs more, and plan this out so you use your money wisely. Compatibility and interoperability. So the one thing I want to talk about here is hub versus hubless. And so you're going to ask, well, what is a hub? A hub is a device that in itself has a lot of intelligence that, one, talks to the internet, and two, talks to the devices. So as a master controller for your devices, it's going to collect information and it's going to do control to these various devices. That device could also communicate to other hubs from other manufacturers. And because you have a hub, say in the case of controlling light bulbs to turn lights on and off, that hub can talk to other devices like a wireless wall-mounted switch, so that you don't have to reach into your pocket and grab your phone every time. You can use a switch on the wall that is made to connect to the hub and control the light. So you can get these stick-on light controllers for every room and never have to hire an electrician because they'll talk to this hub. And that hub will talk to other devices, and now you have more universal control. So the hub-less type of approach, for example, buying a light bulb from TP-Link, it doesn't talk to anything else. So if you have a light bulb from TP-Link and a light bulb from Belkin and a light bulb from IKEA, each of those requires you to pull out your phone and open that individual app to control that particular device. But when you start getting into the hub type controls, you have much more flexibility. And a lot of these manufacturers are indicating that they look like they're going to play with each other in terms of interoperability. So you could control your IKEA lights using a Samsung SmartThings system or a Philips Hue lighting system. And this is what you really want, because then you can, from one source, control everything, and that's much more convenient. So something you're going to need to watch because it's kind of new and not everybody's playing well together. But I think in the future it's going to get much better for us. And if you're only looking to do very small, simple, inexpensive control, then you don't need a hub. But if you're looking long term to control your whole house, I recommend looking for a hub-based system. Well, so there was a whole bunch, and I've only got a few minutes here, so I was saving to see if I could, let's see if I can get this up now. How can I? Okay, I just want to do a couple things with my Google Home here and see if you can hear this. I hope you can hear this. But I'm going to ask my Google Home a few questions. Hey, Google, what's the weather?
Currently in Irvine, it's 76 and mostly sunny. Today, it'll be mostly sunny, with a forecasted high of 82 and a low of 59.
Hey, Google, where's the closest grocery store?
The address for Ralph's is 17605 Harvard Avenue, Irvine, California.
Hey, Google, cancel. Hey, Google, add toothpaste to my shopping list.
What do you want to add to your shopping list?
How about toothpaste and soap?
Okay, I added toothpaste and soap to your shopping list.
Hey, Google, give me directions to Fry's Electronics.
The best way to get to your closest Fry's Electronics at 10800 Kalama River Avenue, Fountain Valley, California by car is via I-405 North and will take about 15 minutes in light traffic.
Hey, Google, cancel. So there's a few examples. It's not just about controlling your devices. You can ask it questions. You can get information instead of having to look up a dictionary or an encyclopedia. You can ask it all kinds of facts, you know. Hey, Google, what's the population of the United States? Oh, did I stump it? Hey, Google, what's the population of the United States?
The population of United States of America was 325.7 million in 2017.
How about that? So there are a lot of things you can do, and it's a great thing when your friends come over and they want to play. You say, hey, Google, tell me a joke.
What do you call a busy bird that's always on business trips? A frequent flyer.
Okay, so I hope I gave you some things to think about, ways that you could take your home and turn it into something high-tech and fun. And I'm ready to take some questions.
Yeah, we've got about 2 minutes. But okay, we got one question, then I'll have the rest sent to you. Any experience with X10 new Wi-Fi control?
So have I had any experience with X10 and their new Wi-Fi control? I used X10 back in the 80s when it was new and there weren't very many other ways to control things. I have not used X10 recently. X10 has very much fallen to the background, and I've been focusing, like most people, on all these newer technologies. So if there's anything new with X10, I don't even know what exists today. Sorry, I can't help you with that.
Okay. I'm going to leave us with one gentleman decided he wants to tell us what he's got in his house. And I thought I'd read the list. He said, I have a TCL TV with Roku, an Ecobee 3.2 Google Home Mini, an Ecobee 3, 2 Google Home Minis, 2 Echo Dots, 1 Echo, a lacrosse weather station, 2 WeMe plugs, a Logitech Harmony Hub, 2 auto cameras, Ring doorbell, air quality detector, D-Link water alert, Roku 2 XD, a Nokia scale, a Garmin Vivo HR Plus, and a German Shepherd.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So there's somebody that embraced it and dove into it. That's really great.
Okay.